Saturday night in Durham, Duke, they didn't blink. 87-70, they beat North Carolina by 17 in this game. They led by 22 at the half. And it was non-competitive, Tyler Hansbrough. It really was. So I got to hear from you. What was your take on this game?
Well, first of all, I walked out of Cameron. I was on the radio for UNC, which is that was a tough task. I walked out of there thinking that Duke is very, very good. And I know that they're a young team, but they are long, and the way they pressured us, we just couldn't handle Duke's defensive pressure. They put a lot of pressure on the ball, and they had everyone kind of sagged into those driving lanes. So it was just like if we penetrated, we were just getting gobbled up by length, pressure, and we were turning the ball over, especially to start the game at a rapid rate. If you look at some of our trends, especially early on in the year, you look at when UNC went to Kansas, they got down big by 20 points to start the half. We had a shot to win it. And then you look at Dayton, we got down big against them. We got down big against Michigan State. We got down big against Duke. And, I really felt like we didn't start the game the way we needed to start to give ourselves a chance to win there. And they're a much more talented team than we are. But when we start the game with lackadaisical turnovers, unforced errors, we're just not going to win those games. And I felt like, when we played defense, we kind of lost. We were a little bit confused in rotations. It just felt like Cooper Flagg was getting some easy looks. They were getting the ball out and pushing. And I'll say this other is the Maluwatch kid, the big. He has great touch. He puts a lot of pressure on the offense. He is a great rim protector. He's an athletic big, and it's just going to continue to get better and better. And the Knippel kid, he lit us up to start the second half. And, I think Duke this isn't breaking news. They're a contender, and they play hard as well. They played harder than we did on Saturday. And not only were they more talented, but they played harder. And I walked out of there, scratching my head like, man, they're good and they play hard. So,
Tyler, you're breaking all kind of news on this show right now. One, according to Tyler Hansbrough sources, Duke is pretty good. And two, according to Tyler Hansbrough sources, starting a game down 40-13 is not necessarily ideal, especially when you're playing in Cameron. But look, I want to ask you this: what's it like for you to walk into Cameron? For people listening that have never been to a game at Cameron Indoor Stadium, like you're literally just walking on campus, and it looks like there's a library over there, and then there's like a Duke store over here on this side. And then you walk over here, you walk down some stairs, and there's like a quad over here with a field. And it looks like there's like the chemistry building. And it's like, oh no, that happens to be like one of the greatest college basketball venues ever. It doesn't feel like you're walking past Cameron Indoor Stadium when you walk past Cameron Indoor Stadium. So when you walk up there, when you walk onto that campus, like, what is it like for you? Do people just recognize you? Are they pointing at you? Are they booing you? Are they throwing stuff at you as you walk?
I got there pretty early. That's actually my first time being on their campus, not for a game, not like just literally getting off the bus and going right to the gym, but it's a nice looking campus. It is a old school. It does look like a school building, but I like that feel. I like that small gym, kind of like a big high school. But I had the little bird's nest view up top, so I got to see everything. And it's my first time walking around Cameron and kind of seeing all the history and stuff like that. I thought it was really cool. But
how hard did Coach K recruit you? How hard did Coach K recruit you?
It wasn't a real long recruitment, and we, I think I moved on pretty early in that one. I wasn't going to go to Duke. Just wasn't a fit for me. So wasn't a long.
He's not a Duke guy. He's Carolina born and bred. Is that right?
Yeah. No, not actually. I was a Mizzou fan. They were in a little bit of trouble. Then Coach Williams came over, started recruiting me. But yeah. I actually enjoyed watching the game in Cameron. Besides us just getting absolutely curb stomped, I thought the atmosphere was unbelievable, and they know that And, you got to give Jon Scheyer a lot of credit. And the reason I say that is because, how he's winning, especially in this new portal era where a lot of guys try to get older players, he's taking freshmen and really making them effective and kind of changing the thought that you can't win with freshmen. And he's really turned them around. Like, this is pretty much a new roster. And he's taking guys, the kid from Purdue who comes in, he plays effective minute. And then the Malik Brown kid, the more veteran guy they got from Syracuse coming over, they're playing all their roles. And then you mix in these freshmen who are having a huge impact. And, he needs a lot of credit for that because he's definitely reversed that thought for me as well.
What they're doing is just ridiculous. What Duke is doing, and when you look at their ACC schedule, I don't think they're going to lose a game in this league. I don't. Like, they got to go to Clemson on Saturday. They could be susceptible to dropping one there, but maybe. But they'd have to play an off game. Their A game is just otherworldly. It's not great. It's otherworldly. It's beyond that. It's when Con Knipple is hitting perimeter shots, Rob, and when that perimeter is in sync, you have the best prospect and the best all-around talent extraordinaire in the country in Cooper Flagg. And Tyler's right. Like, Jon Scheyer's in year 3. He's made his mark on this job. Of course, you have to have March success, but this team has a completeness about it. They have rim protection. They defend at a high level. They've got the best talent in America. Knipple, when he knocks down shots, there's no holes. They are an absolute wagon, and I predict that Duke will go undefeated in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Rob?
Yeah, I think you're right. And we talked about this a little bit late night, but I'm starting to come around to the idea that Cooper Flagg is the best NBA prospect that we've seen in college, maybe even since Anthony Davis. He's doing everything that he's doing as someone that is the age of a high school senior is incredibly impressive. The scoring is there. He's become a really, really good shooter. Like, you could see his development from November until now, right? Like, you can actually see him getting better. And a lot of the stuff that we criticize him for at the end of games, at the end of the Kansas game, at the end of the Kentucky game, like, that stuff has gotten better. And he just keeps getting better. And I've seen people say, I don't know if he's a generational player. And I don't care what kind of term you want to put on it, but, like, he's the number 1 pick in the draft. And he's going to be a guy that wins a lot of games at the NBA level. He's going to be an unbelievable player.
That's ridiculous. He is a generational player and prospect. He's the most gifted defensive player that we have seen at this level in a long, long time. I think that first off, it's not even a question. He's the number 1 pick in the draft. If you're number 1 this long, we're talking years, you're generational. Does it translate to being the best player in the NBA? Who knows? But Tyler, anybody who's saying this kid, what he is on the floor, the amount that he does in a game, that he's not generational, that he doesn't have that type of makeup. I don't want to blow smoke on certain kids because they're kids. But disagree if you'd like, Tyler Hansbrough. I'd like to hear it. But what do you think of Cooper Flagg?
I think he's generational, and he's a rare player that has a huge impact on the game without scoring. Yes, his scoring, he can light you up, and he can take you off ISO and play ISO ball and use his length and athleticism just to pull up right over defenders, but he is a generational player. There's no doubt about it, and he is a very young freshman as well. He's just going to continue to grow and get better and better. He's generational. That's an easy question. I just want to say my one concern that we've talked about Duke probably running through the ACC is I do think they need to be tested. And if Duke gets tested in the tournament, I think that could be something that you look at that makes them vulnerable. They haven't had enough tested. They haven't been tested enough just because the ACC is so down this year and they're just running through teams.